Hello, it's Surewood Sign Sip, an interactive experience where you get drunk and we make art. Grab any supplies you have, those Crayola markers in the closet, colored pencils, how about those watercolors you bought once and never used again? Personally, I'm going to use some acrylics, so if you want to lead with that, you can follow along. I've got paper plates, paper towel, water to do a little rinsey rinse, and most importantly, our drink. Here we go, I'm going to show you how to make that if you need some help. I've noticed what happens most during these quarantine days is you'll reach for the liquor cabinet. So let's get some club soda out of the fridge, some pineapple juice, and tequila. I'm using Casamigos because that's my jam. Grab the gaudiest little shot glass you can find. Pour yourself a nice hefty one. Throw that in your beautiful wine glass because you like feeling classy. And you know what? Top that off with a little more because honestly, we've all earned it. Pop that top to that club soda. Do not let it explode because we're not here to make messes. Alright, give that a little splash. You just need some bubbles for fun. How about that pineapple juice? We need some antioxidants in these days. It's very important to stay healthy. Throw a lime on there. Take an Instapic, because it didn't happen unless you Insta it. And then squeeze that bitch in there and shake it up. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. Now let's get started. First and foremost, we have rules here. The rules are, you're going to drink anytime you want to. Anytime you look at your phone, because nobody needs that kind of negativity. Speaking of negativity, drink anytime you claim you suck, or anything of that nature. Drink anytime I say the word boom. And, most importantly, drink anytime we start a new step. So, cheers! Grab your drink, take a little chuggy chug. Nice hefty sip to get started. Alright, beautiful. Let's see. I'm going to throw out this paper plate, and then we're going to do a little squirty sort of some different colors. We're going to do the background to start, and we've got some blue and some greens. Thinking something similar to what's happening on this table right here. You know, you just want to feel serene, like the ocean, nice breezy day. Ignore the fact that I'm making a mess already, because we're going to paint over that. All right. But first, let's map out what we're doing. So, it's going to be a surprise for you guys, but first we're going to do an oval. I'm a little disappointed with how small I went on this. I would go bigger if I were you. And then we're going to add some ears. If you have any idea, it is a cat. Alright, but it's a special cat, so we'll get to that. If you want, go bigger on that. Go big, go home. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. Grab a paintbrush. I, for some reason, went with the smallest one I had. And we just mix that up real sloppily and throw it on the canvas. There is no wrong way to do this except for the way I just did it. So grab a bigger brush. We don't have that kind of time. Well, we do. We have plenty of time. But it is so much more fun to use the big brush and just throw it all over the canvas as fast as you can. I'm speeding this up so that you don't have to wait through all of this monotony. Isn't it so serene, though, watching paint dry? Oh, it's gorgeous. And I like to kind of blend on the canvas and keep it in one direction. It's nice and thick. Acrylic works well with time, so you can just lay it on. Nice thin layer, so you don't have to wait 4 months for it to dry. And then we can kind of clean it up as we go. Make it a little more uniform. Beautiful. Oh, look at that. And yeah, cover the whole thing. If you want to do along the edges, along the side of the canvas, feel free. I'm not going to do that here because I don't want to get the table dirty. And as we go around, you're going to leave that middle part empty because we're going to paint that in separately. So here I'm just doing a little diagonal stroke, keeping everything in a nice uniform pattern. And then I'm going to clean it up after this sip. That's very important. Yeah. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous. If you're playing along, please feel free to pause me whenever you feel like it. I'll be here when you get back. I'm going to let this dry. But first, we're going to take a little drink. Yes. Because today is mostly about getting drunk. I filmed this during the day, so I had an excuse to day drink. And really, a quarantine is an excuse to day drink. So I'm, just giving myself extra opportunities. Once that's dry, we're going to come back to it. So if you want, pause and let that dry. Now, once that's dry, grab a colored pencil, something light that's not going to make too dark of a mark. Nice and light hand, do a cross right through the middle of that oval. And then we're going to do an arrow right in the middle part. So it's just pointing right down, something nice and simple. Then we do a triangle, an isosceles, if you will, nice and tall, and a square. The square is going to go right from the middle point, and as you can see, just nice and easy like that. This is, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're having fun. And then a tiny little house, a nice short little ranch on the bottom of that line that's looking like the cat's chin. And then we've got the square. We're going to square that all off. So that's his little cheeks. If you're using your imagination, you can see it, but we'll get there, I promise. Next, we're going to do his eyes. Everything across that middle line is going to be all symmetrical. So what you do on one half of his face, you're going to do on the other half of his face. So that's how faces work. Here I'm drawing in his creepy little eyes and his little eyebrows. Next, we're going to add some what looks like angry lines. Very thoughtful cat. You'll recognize him. And what you did on one side, you're doing on the other. Nice and easy, just darkening that line. And then we've got his little cheeks. These are kind of to help you gradiate, help you understand the color of what's happening with his face. And that's that. And guess what? We finished a step, so drink. Cheers to you. Now, I don't know if you recognize our man here, but you will shortly. So let's grab some colors. I did a little mustard color, a brown, and then a white. First, we're going to grab a brush. One of those nice squared off brushes works best, I find, because it draws a nice clean line. And we're just going to add that mustard with the yellow, throw in some brown, mix that up. Oh, it's a beautifully ugly color, but it's perfect. It's working. It's just what we need. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that nice square brush and drag it along so it kind of makes a nice line. And we're going to fill in from his ear part down those lines. You're going to kind of want to keep everything on the same line. Your strokes all similar. So here it kind of looks like we're drawing in some really thick, ugly ass eyebrows. You see a pattern in, the way his face moves. So from there, we're going to go to his sideburn-ish. He's kind of look a little bit like an angry beaver or Wolverine. Perfect. We fill that in. Here, we're kind of just mapping out some color. This does not have to be perfect. Trust me, layers are going on top. We're just going to layer this baby up, and he's going to look real good. Coming in with some darker brown. So here, we're going to stick to the middle of his face. We're going to do that eyebrow part where you drew that first arrow, kind of go around along those lines. We're using those markers we made as our fill in the blanks, our coloring book, if you will. All right, and you just squish it out, just smooth it out towards that lighter brown that we just did. I'm not loving this color, so I'm going to rinse off my brush. Yeah, ugly. We need that a little darker. Grab your paper towel, just rinse that off. You don't want a nice, very, very wet brush. And take a chug because you've earned it. And we're going to come back with that brush nice and clean with a darker brown. Yeah, really lay that on. Go around that triangle in the middle around the bridge of his nose and flick it out towards the light brown. You really want to just fill in the space. We want no white left in between the two different browns. And then we're going to bring that around his eyes. If you are getting curious, you might recognize this handsome fella. Actually, it's a lady. May she rest in peace, Miss Grumpy Cat. I think Grumpy Cat would have been thriving. If I had to guess, 2020 is the year of Grumpy Cat. Or if it were a different animal, it would probably be that tiger that ate Carol Baskin's husband. I'm just kidding. That is a joke, unless you haven't watched Tiger King, in which case you should. And also, Carol's innocent, probably, maybe. All right, back to Grumpy Cat. Look at his little eyebrows. We're going around his eyes here with the darker. You kind of want to flush everything out and kind of blend it together, but you're just leaving no white spaces in between. That's just, the basis. You want to fill in that color. We're going to layer it up. It's going to look great. All right, so right now he's kind of looking like a pissed off owl or some sort of harlequin mask. It's creepy, but trust me, we'll get there. And I feel like I haven't said it enough, so boom, take a drink. We're going to fill in those ears. His ears are a nice dark color, so let's just paint that out. I'm going to speed through this because if you want, you can pause this, you know how it goes. But I don't want to, waste everybody's time with a 2-hour painting tutorial. This one's not that long though, I promise. And if you're doing this at home, I would love to see your pictures, so post it, tag me, let me know, at Casey Sherwood. You probably are my friends, so you know that. Alright, here we are going darker around his eyes again, because no matter what, he'll never look grumpy enough. And you just fleck that out. You want to make that darker. And we're coming in with a little lighter brown. We're going to work on filling in the rest of his head. Always in the same motion. Keep your strokes going the same way, because that's how fur works. Wipe off that brush and jump right back in. Not entirely sure what the point of that was, but there's a lot of paint on this canvas, so I'm just kind of blending. If you've ever watched a makeup tutorial, it's kind of like what you do with a nice smoky eye. Yes, our cat has a nice smoky eye. So perfect. You're just gonna draw it like those bags under his eyes, like when you can't fall asleep because of the anxiety of the world. That's how Grumpy Cat is on a regular basis. And now take a drink, because we've earned it again. Oh, this is a nice big gulp. But, our drink is empty. Let's hit the fridge. I think it's time. Alright, and we'll return from the fridge with a White Claw, because that's, a new American staple that everybody has. Drink up, baby. This is not an ad, but, they are delicious. So, have another sip if you feel like it. You don't gotta, but we're gonna get started on this further step, adding some more light brown. I went a little too orange to start, a little too Garfield, but there's always time to correct with acrylic especially. So we're kind of just going to go over those colors and mush it all together. You want to have a nice little base coat of paint anyway, so there's no harm, no foul. And go around his eyes again. We're going to go up the middle, adding darker. You kind of just want to layer it all up. Add that brown around his eyes because he's got the sorrow of the world on his little cat shoulders. And you just blend it out. Beautiful, nice and fluffy. We're getting somewhere now, folks. Throw that in your water cup. Make sure you do not drink your water cup. That is a mistake you do not want to make twice. Trust me, that's better. Grab your drink. Boom. Boom. I said it. Alright. Now, we're going to try out some white. Let's get started on filling in the white. You'll notice here I made a wee little mistake and used a watercolor colored pencil instead of a regular one, and that is why everything's coming out yellow. If you used a regular pencil or colored pencil, it might smear a little, but probably not as much as mine is. We're going to add the white around the outside, kind of just fluff it in because he is a cat. Fur is nice and fuzzy, so you don't need any clean, crisp lines. And you kind of just want to make sure the outside isn't just the color of the background. So I'm going to lay that in a little thick there. Lay it on thick. That's what they always say, I think. Alright, I'm giving him a little chin and making sure to round out his cheeks because that's how cats work. And perfect. Alright, we're going to just glop on that paint because we got to let it dry. Alright, and we're going into the eyes. They're going to come out yellow too. Messed up a little, but you can always just smear it off with your little fingers. I'm going to end up covered in paint regardless. And fluff out more white. Alright, rinse off that brush. It's getting a little dirty. And now we're going back with the brown. Because we want to, while that white is wet, just give it a little texture and zhuzh out that other brown color. Here we are. Little bit of the light brown again. Just giving them lots of layers. Lots of layers for fur. So you can just, the too much gene can be a problem. You don't want to fuss too much. But in this case, we have some leeway. Which is, one of the reasons why I chose this cat. First and foremost, because he's cute. And he just feels like, my inner beast. Oh, there he is. Beautiful. His eyes look incredibly creepy right now, but I promise you we're getting somewhere. Do not worry. And we're judging out that darker brown. Smearing it into the white. Really just keep fussing and fumbling. Pull up a picture of Grumpy Cat if you need a little extra assistance. Or just, pause and follow along with me as we go. We kind of just want to fill out this whole little oval with his face. When this quarantine first started and I couldn't bartend, I worried people would forget about me or realize how much money they could save spending, only money in the liquor store. But everyone I know has bought so much at the liquor store that I think they really do miss me and my company, because you can't talk about your own problems to yourself. It's just not as fun, not as fulfilling. So, once we're allowed back in public, come visit me at the bar. You can tell me your life story. I'll take it. I love that. Alright, we're back to the ears. Filling in a little darker. Just making sure that layer is nice and covered. Filling in the whole space. Take a drink. We need a break. Oh, wonderful. We're going to start next up with some water. A new clean brush and taking a sip. Oh, good little chuggy chug. Because we're going to get started on this next step. Once everything's dry, you kind of want to be dry. We're coming in with the white again on his little cat face. I don't know the proper terminology for that, but you get it. Alright, and then fluffing out the white around the outside again. Just adding more fur, more dimension. Do cats have fur or hair? I think it's hair. Anyway, here we go. A little more on the eyes. Lighten those up. We don't need them that yellow, because I made a mistake. Oh, yeah, and he's got a nice fluff on the top of his head, like a little toupee of white, so we're going to add that. Come in with a little more light brown. A little too light. That's better. And fluffing that out. Just layering it up. There is no wrong answer here, folks. None at all. Because quite frankly, what's the point of it all? Oh, I'm just kidding. That's way too pessimistic for me. Take another drink. Boom. Alright, perfect. Now, we're coming in with a little darker around the eyes. He still doesn't look grumpy enough for my liking. Gonna add, we're just all over the place for a second there, just touching up everything. Alright, we're gonna do a little work on his little nose. So, a cat nose is kind of triangular, but a little flat. And then he's got that nice grumpy scowl. And we're just going to fill in his chin a little, because it's mostly green at the moment. So we want to kind of cover up that background color. Rinse that brush. It is a mess. Have a sip. You've earned it. Ah, refreshing. Refreshing stuff. Grab that brush. We're coming back with the white. And fluffing out those little cheeks. And his little chin. That chin's going to need a lot of work by the end of this. So if I was you, I would maybe not do the chin so far down. Oh, he has little ear hairs. So we'll throw them in. Adding some more to his little white toupee on the top. And fluffing. That's what that motion there is called, the fluff. And you kind of just dab and swab And here you can just grab any color you want. The flat brush is nice. It adds some texture, kind of like cat hairs. And it gives you a chance to, just touch up whatever you want. We're going to let that dry for a sec, and then we're going to throw that brush in some water, clean it off, and wipe it off. And drink. Refreshing. Nice big gulp, because it's time to get started on his eyes. Alright, he's got these actually nice, beautiful blue eyes. They're very light blue color, because as sad as he looks, he's still a handsome man. And we do a swirl, a little dab. We want that nice light blue, so it's just going to be the white and blue together. And just jump on in. Move with confidence. That is key in painting. The brush can sense your fear. So can the paint, so just do it. Because there are no wrong answers. You can always go over something if you wait long enough for it to dry. I'm impatient though, so you just kind of move with confidence. Use the flat edge of that brush to give you a nice clean line. And there's his eyeballs. Next, we're going to do his little nose. So we cleaned off that brush or got a new brush. And his nose is a very light pink. So lots of white, little dab of pink, little dab of red. And you get that nice pink. Wipe that off. And it's kind of like a bat symbol, but a flat triangle, just like that. And we're going to go down into his little mouth because he's got like these nice, cute little pink little cat lips. Is that a thing? Cat lips? I'd assume, yeah. Anyway. Alright, he's starting to look a little less terrifying, but still just as frightening. Clean off that brush. Rinsey rinse. You don't want it soaking wet, so dab it on a paper towel. Because next we are jumping in with some... Oh, I don't think he looks grumpy enough. That's what's happening here. I'm fixing his little cheeks because I want them to look even like sadder and droopier and angrier, if you will. So I'm adding a little shadow there. I'm gonna just blend that out into his chin because it's a little shadowed because he's, just so unhappy. And just blending a little. Not really sure what happened here, but I'm coming back with the white to just round that out, give him a little more cheek surface. Cleaning up around the pink. We don't need his whole face to be pink. And a little more white on that chin because I like a nice clean looking cat. And it's not necessarily dry, but we're going to try anyway and just keep on dabbing. So I want to add a little more shadow to his mouth. So I'm going to grab a brownish again and just blend that out around. Because I just want him to look grumpier. Open his mouth a little. Yeah, there, that's looking a little better. Grumpy cat's got a cute little flat face. And moving up to his nose, the bridge of his nose, and adding a little texture with the darker. Remember that year we thought all those celebrities dying was bad? I don't have a joke here, but I just wanted to mention it. Anyway, we're back at it with the white, dabbing on the chin again. Just kind of making up for our mistakes and just really trying to give them some dimension to those cheeks. Coming in with a little brownish white. Kind of blending that out. Sick of that one. Let's take a sip because we're feeling a little discouraged. But I have high hopes this is going to come around. Alright, grab some black. We're going to put that on our wild paper plate over here, which I'm using as like a little palette if you haven't noticed. Stick a brush in that. Here I grabbed a nice little pointy brush. You'll see it's not the best for this kind of work. You don't need it. It doesn't really work like a pen. It's not going to make a nice clean line like you're expecting because it kind of has a mind of its own, which is nice for small delicate details, but not necessarily for something of this nature. So we're drawing in his eye. It's kind of a rounded triangle upside down right here. And you want to round it out. Try and get the edges nice and flat. I'm not loving this brush, so I'm going to switch it out. I'm going to go back to one of my little square flat ones. And for the other eye, you'll see why I like it better. Yeah, there it is, looking good. See, oh, what a nice clean, crisp line, and you can just use it, the width of it, to fill out the circle and touch up any lines. There you go. Any extra paint you want to add on, do it. Just, commit. You gotta really feel confident. That is key, because otherwise it's just torture. And this is all about having fun. We're here to get you drunk and get you this cute little cat painting. Has anyone else noticed that quarantine is basically like 40% scrolling, 30% alcohol, probably 20% dishes, and then 10% Tiger King? Either everybody talking about it or you yourself binging it. Anyway, let's make these eyes nice and thick, because he's a fierce Tiger King himself. Gorgeous. He has that look in his eyes like he could really rip you apart. Alright, add in little nostrils because he's got to breathe. And we're going to come in with the black around his eyes because I just don't feel like he looks grumpy or sad enough. And that's really going to add some dimension to the depth of his eyes and his soul. Alright, just make it nice and dark. He's got a beautiful cat eye. Is this where the term came from? Oh my god, Grumpy Cat invented cat eye. Alright, and we're going to add some more black around his eyes, like eyeliner, to just really accentuate the shadow of his eyes. And down to his mouth, the shadow of his little cat mouth. Everything is little, I guess, in my life. And here I'm just accentuating around his little cat snout, whatever that is called, and making it darker. Gotta wipe that off though, because I'm gonna move on to white again, because I'm just gonna keep touching up the white throughout this entire video. Alright, here we are. Nice scratchy strokes, like just brush upward. Beautiful. And around his little cheeks, making them nice and white, nice and light and bright. And on his chin. We're going to keep trying to cover up that green. Beautiful. And then we're going to fluff out his face. Nice and lots of furry. Adding a little brown. Give a little more dimension. A little more color. Perfect. Alright, and just adding the fur kind of texture. Everything's in a little sideways stroke, a little up and down motion, if you will. And you kind of fleck it out so it looks just like hairs. Yes, just like that. And adding a little darker. Gonna blend that into his eyes, because he's got a wonderful set of eyes. I don't know what that means. And we're just gonna fuss with everything, and that just gives us more dimension in his fur. Alright, next I'm coming in with some white for this top toupee again. I want to just really fill that out, fill out the white, make it nice and bright. Coming in, nice soft touch, and fluff it. That chin, still working on that chin. Oh, there he is. He's looking nice and grumpy. And the thing I love most about him is he doesn't hide it like the rest of us. And mostly, we can get drunk and it doesn't matter. A nice crisp sip. I'm gonna do a little signature. So grab a pen. Find it's easier to grab a Sharpie and sign your name. Oh my goodness, what is this here? Is that my Venmo? What? How embarrassing. I don't know what I was thinking. I might have been a little drunk, but let me live. I hope everybody enjoyed this Sign and Sip Grumpy Cat edition. Something to really just show how I think all of us as a universe are feeling. But mostly, I hope you got drunk. If you haven't, chug the rest of your drink and make a new one. I love you and stay safe. And I feel like I haven't said it enough, so boom, take a drink.